there, darling. I didn't get a love note. I got a business card. How cold and cruel. My heart broke. Hey, are
Oh, yeah, there is one or two. Right.
How are you? Donald? What's up, Artie? Oh, we're gonna take on our problem. We don't have it either. We don't have it either. It's not good, Artie. It's not good. Right? I might be one. Yeah. Hey, Brian, how are you? You're always a ball of fire. You just got so much energy. So,
Chilly in here tonight. A little chilly in here. Wig.
I, yeah, that's me. Yeah, yeah.
Hi, David. Can I, Mr. Roger?
Thank you,
Mr.
Karen.
Roger, can I use your ID? I forgot my laptop inside. And ID inside.
I'm sorry?
Can I use your ID? I forgot
Listen,
my laptop inside.
I got about 3 questions about that with that same question. You're like, what? I said our report.
I believe it is.
I think so.
Listen, it's mind boggling. I don't get it. I really don't
That on the
get
agenda.
it. Right. What are we talking about? Mr. Brosman, how are you? You see, they pruned that tree around the light at Milton Park. I can't hear you. At the same park? Oh, you know,
Apologize for starting this meeting late. Please rise for the revocation, followed by the pledge of flag. Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering us together today for the important work serving our community. We ask for your wisdom and guidance as we discuss the matters before us, and the patience and respect to listen to one another. Help us to put the needs of our neighbors above our own and make decisions with fairness and integrity, the way that reflects your love and justice. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
Which stands
one nation under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
and
justice
justice
for all. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Oh my God. Being a singing in there.
How about it?
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Ettinger?
Here.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Here.
Mrs. Rose?
Here.
Dr. Ruggles?
Here.
Ms. Sultana?
Here.
Mayor Panto?
Here. Approval of the agenda?
Move motion.
Mayor, there's two items on the agenda.
Yeah, I was just gonna do that.
Okay.
I will remove, the two items that deal with the resolutions, the parking, since they're not complete as of tonight. Letter E, under 14, new business, and
G.
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 Yep. That's just because we're still, there's still some, items that need to be addressed. That they're not following through, but we're just working through it.
Councilman Ruggles, you still make the motion with the.
Well, that's a motion, so I'll second the mayor's motion,
Okay.
and then those will be removed, and then we can vote on the
Mayor, you
original.
said E and G?
E and G.
Who gave me the soda launchers? Thank you.
You're welcome.
I need them. Action on the minutes of,
We're
Wait,
voting on
we have
your
to vote on the
amendment.
agenda.
roll call.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr.
Now
Brown?
we
Aye.
vote on the,
Now we vote on the agenda. As amended.
And Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
We have a presentation to council by the Environmental Advisory Committee, Dark Skies Initiative.
Oh, there it is. Great.
All right. Testing. Okay. All right. Mayor Panto, members of council, my name is Nick Gorski. I am the chair of the Easton Environmental Advisory Council, and today I am here to present on our recommendation that council adopt a dark skies ordinance to improve the lighting situation within the city at night. So for our presentation, over the last 50 years or so, light pollution has increased sharply across the entire United States, especially in the east, and especially here in the northeast. You can see how the light has grown in New York City, Philadelphia, and then we are a satellite to that, where it is just as bright here as it is in Midtown Manhattan some nights. This makes it very difficult to see the skies. It is bad for both animals and humans to have light that is shining this late at night. And again, it's something that we want to see the actual stars at night rather than just reflected light from all of the street lights and other things that happen within our city. Ooh, this font is strange. Okay. Dark skies is not about completely eliminating lights. It is about using light intelligently and strategically throughout the city. So this is shifting from incandescents to LEDs. It's using shielded fixtures that devote the light that gets emitted down as opposed to out into the sides. And it's using temperature range limits to keep lighting around where an incandescent was. So 2700 Kelvin to 3000 Kelvin, which is a warmer, redder light as opposed to a bluer, more daylight light that can help make it difficult to go to sleep or affect the diurnal patterns of animals. It's also about using intelligent placement and strategic dimming. It's never about leaving streets in the dark, but actually making it so that it's easy to see what is around you, but not having that light reflect upwards and blocking out the light of the stars. So looking at sort of on the left here, we have a classic street lamp, and you can see how that there's glare that comes directly out from that. It makes it very difficult to see directly around those shadows. And on the right, a more modern shielded item, it still makes it capable to see everything that's happening in that lot, but isn't necessarily making anything glaring or challenging the ability to actually see if you stare at the light, and then it sort of makes it hard to see when you turn back to the dark. On the color temperature side, around 27,000 or 2,700 Kelvin is warm and sort of makes you feel like you're ready to go to sleep. Daylight is around 5,500 to 6,500 Kelvin, and that's very bright. It's going to make you more alert, but also make it more difficult to sleep, and that's both for humans and for animals. And so on this slide, you can see as lighting begins to be shielded and aimed down, you're still able to see everything around you on the ground, but you can see more of what's going on above you in the skies.
Sorry about that. I don't know why that happened.
And then here we have a map of the light pollution within the Lehigh Valley, and Easton downtown and around the city itself is often just as bright as Allentown, New York City, Philadelphia, DC. Most nights I can only see 1 or 2 stars unless it's very, very clear, and maybe if the college doesn't have the lights on at the stadium, I can see a few more. So there are a lot of benefits to taking on this program. Brendan, if you want to come up and just run through these.
Hello, everyone. So I am also an associate member of the EAC now, and then part of my position here is to help the EAC and make sure it's a back and forth partnership where we have ideas together, and they really forwarded this dark sky idea themselves. But I do want to mention that this is something that through the municipality and through my position we can really support and initiate, and there's multiple benefits. When we're talking about dark sky lighting, it is strategic, it is intelligent, but it also still benefits us in a time where budgets inflate and get drastic. When we start upgrading to LEDs, costs go down, and while there's initial investment, that's one way we can operationally reduce the cost of our municipality and help lift the load on taxpayers. Other benefits may include improved sleep and regulated circadian rhythms for residents. We can see that where that previous graphic where we saw that 4,000 Kelvin, 400,000 Kelvin was getting towards that brighter white light, which is currently observed along sections of Spring Garden. It's hard to sleep with those bright lights. So these ordinances or these types of Kelvin temperature ranges reduce that. There has been research showing reduced bodily stress and improved mental health as well. Same kind of reduced stress and mental health improvements you get through walking green spaces or in your parks or just sitting in the grass. Reduce risk for disease as well. We don't usually associate lighting to cause long-term effects, but we're in this every night. Every night we go outside, we're prone to these lighting systems above us, and they can disrupt these circadian rhythms over our lifetimes, leading to chronic illnesses like depression, diabetes, heart disease, and even some forms of cancer. And then part of it also is protecting wildlife. We are a bird town now here in the city of Easton, and this does achieve bird protection as well as insect and plant life. As our climate changes and as our municipality changes, birds, insects, and other wildlife, including vegetation, are all negatively impacted by bright LED lighting. So dark sky compliant lighting means saving money and benefiting our citizens and our wildlife while accomplishing the goal of making sure that Easton leads the way in technology, innovation, and strategic planning. Dimmers reduce the intensity of lighting during scheduled hours where they can save us money, and making sure that we dim it intelligently as well. Maybe you have 2 lights next to each other or 3 lights in a row all next to each other. Maybe that middle light doesn't need to be at full capacity. It could even be put to 10% and you still have effective lighting from the light shining down on the other 2 surrounding the edges. It is just more efficient and effective. But how do we achieve this? Collaboration across the entities and the municipality. One of those collaboration points being the EAC and myself, as well as other members, including Dave Hopkins, our Public Works Director, you guys as well, MedEd, the public, and generally the Dark Sky Committee, which is a subcommittee of the EAC at the moment. Crafting dark sky ordinances is, your basic bare bones. There has to be an ordinance for this. Sustainability Coordinator myself and the Dark Sky Committee are working in partnership with the EAC on drafting ordinances for municipal lighting, with a focus on new municipal construction buildings and buildings larger than a minimum square foot. So really looking at extremely large commercial, not going to residential levels. And then working with MedEd, which that one's fun. Sustainability Coordinator, myself, is working with MedEd to replace over 1,200 streetlights across the city, all into LED. They are not dark sky compliant, and that is a restriction from MedEd itself. Unfortunately, there's only so much we can do in that regard. And enhance communication and education. Ensure proper internal communication, community partnership, and educational programming to residents. When we make changes like this, I think it's our duty to also inform residents on why we should and make sure that we're not talking at them, but talking with them and meeting them at the level that they need to be met at. Educational partnership between the Dark Sky Committee and my position is also vital, whether we share social media or events, whatever that form takes. So the Dark Sky Ordinance for Easton is a community-focused Dark Skies ordinance. Approved cost. Oh, go for it.
Sorry about that, Brendan. Okay, so the EAC, we held a initial learning session about this at the beginning of September. We held it in this room, very exciting. We learned a lot about how Pittsburgh went about crafting their Dark Skies ordinance and the successes and challenges that they've had with that. We've already seen that there is a lot of community interest in this idea, and that's something that we would want to continue to build on if the council decides to move forward with an ordinance itself. So it's about the community, it's about listening to what the community needs in terms of health, in terms of safety, and in terms of being able to actually see the skies again. This ordinance, we would like it to include limits on brightness and color temperature, again, targeting an ideal range between 2700 Kelvin and 3000 Kelvin, moving towards using LED fixtures whenever new fixtures are put in order to reduce energy use and cost, to set up dimmers and timers to reduce the lighting when full illumination is not needed. So you need a different amount of lighting at 4 a.m. than you do at 8 p.m., and then moving forward, making sure that any luminaries that the city purchases are dark sky compliant. Brendan has told me that there are many of the luminaries that we've been buying from the company that I believe is called Spring City. Spring City makes dark skies compliant fixtures. We've bought some of those already, and we have others that are in place. So again, we recommend that the council develop and adopt an ordinance on dark skies, and look forward to hearing any of your questions.
Thank you for the presentation. It's very timely. As I think everyone's aware, I've received more complaints on this issue than probably any other issue in my almost 2 years on council. Recently, Met Ed installed some light bulbs downtown, light fixtures in the street lights, and the block I live on happens to be part of that footprint. And it looks like the outside of my house looks like a highway on-ramp. I was telling Brandon yesterday when I was talking to him. I do want to say thank you to Dave Hopkins, to Brandon Sullivan, our sustainability coordinator, who I've had some nice dialogue with. I know the EAC, I thank the whole team for working on this. This is something they've been working on for a while, and I think with that issue, it was more evident than ever. Sometimes it's good when these mistakes happen because, an ordinance like this maybe I think is needed, and I would encourage everyone to drive down Spring Garden Street right now. On the 100 block, you can see the difference between the new bulbs and the 200 block, the old amber colored bulbs that are warmer light. I have photos from my neighbors showing me their rooms that have no indoor lights on them at 8 p.m. at night that are, it looks like their floodlights or Cottingham Stadium lights coming through their windows. It's pretty intrusive, it really is. So I'm happy that Dave and Brandon are working with Met Ed to remedy the situation, and I look forward to supporting this ordinance.
A question. You mentioned partnership, and you talked about Med Ed being one of the partners. Now, I connected your team with a rep from Med Ed a month or two ago, so they know the plan, but they still installed those light bulbs here on 2nd Street. Do you feel they're going to partner? I mean, are you getting pushback from Med Ed? It doesn't seem like they're on the same page yet.
Yeah. Brendan's been working with them more closely.
Yeah, so there has been a pretty decent partnership between me and Med Ed in regards to at least geographically sorting these. So the process, the reason why it started on the corner of downtown where it did was because I went through and sorted these. We have 1,276 lights through Med Ed that they currently have to go in and replace. A lot of these are at the end of their lifespan, so they had to be replaced no matter what. But these geographical locations were in groups of 50. So sorted all of this into 24 different groups of 50 to be able to do that. Started with that top right corner purposely to be able to have public dialogue on these changes. There's just miscommunication on when these installs would happen. Since then, Dave and I, Crystal has hinted to, work towards really pausing that, and we did get a pause. 28 lights were installed so far. and they were all in that section up in Second and Spring Garden. Starting tonight and tomorrow night, they'll be going through and replacing some of those really high wattage, like 260 wattage, still low wattage in general, but replace the 260 wattage options on Spring Garden with lower wattages to see the difference. And went and found the spec sheet for those lights in particular. The lumens, excuse me, on those are dropping significantly. The lumens half, and the lumens are largely responsible for the brightness of those lights. So that should be a meaningful change. And I think that's also a good example of just genuine attempt and partnership with MedEd. You know, they are constrained a little bit on the temperature side. They are going to have to be at 400,000 K, and that's solely because of logistics. That's just the lighting that's available to MedEd, and that is industry standard as far as I'm aware as well, unfortunately. So not much we can do, but they seem serious about working with us, and they've been great to work with when we can. Unfortunately, that miscommunication we weren't provided a start date. So.
Well, the start date and the brightness of the lights, right? I mean, that was the big issue. I don't think we weren't concerned about the start. It was what we ended up with, right? We're lighting up Peaburg from Spring Garden Street.
Yeah, a little bit. So those wattage reductions, so from 400 to 260, those are the really, really bright ones out there. They were 400 watt incandescents prior. The MedEd recommendation is dropping to the 260. So that's how we got there. That's the recommended standard drop for MedEd when doing these LED conversions, and that's practiced throughout every region that they operate in. So that was our hope, was that once we got them installed, we could pause, go look at them, visualize, and adjust. And that's where that fall through happened, was just not understanding the timeline of when they would start in those installations, so we could go observe and adjust. But as of now, we're at that point where we're gonna pause it, adjust, observe, and adjust again. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. No. Thank you.
Any other questions? I like the idea of the shields. I like the idea of protecting the trees. And I like the idea of protecting the birds. But I also want a shield so that we keep our streets lit well to reduce crime. So I think you're on the right track.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And pedestrian safety.
And pedestrian safety when you walk across the intersections. Go ahead, Dr. Ruggles.
I just want to compliment you, and I compliment you because I was on this council when we created the EAC, and this is exactly why we created it. Was we sit up here and don't have the expertise that you guys bring. I mean, I would not have even thought about something like this, and so I just want to thank you for coming forward with this. It's what the committee was created for, was to make us aware of these particular issues so that we can then move on them. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I want to state that what I presented today, everything that has happened with the Dark Skies initiative with the EAC, it's been driven by all of our members. Mary and Stacy in particular has done a great job of reaching out to those experts in Pittsburgh, working with other EACs and other cities to understand how they're approaching these lighting ordinances. And it is a group effort, and we are very happy that we were able to present this to you today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Brandon, also.
No. Thank you. Taking out my EAC members. You want me to?
Okay, public comment on agenda items only.
Mayor, we
Oh, we did action on the minutes of October 8th.
Move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Roll call.
Dr. Ruggles,
Aye.
Ms. Sultana,
Aye.
Mayor Panto,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger,
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone,
Aye.
Mrs. Rose.
Aye.
Okay, now we'll have public comment on agenda items only.
Please provide your name, the spelling of it, and your address, please.
Yep, Dominic Trebasi, Dominic. Last name Trebasi, Trabosci. I live on South 5th Street.
Thank you.
Council, I'm here tonight to speak to 14A. I'm going to be brief. I don't have anything written tonight. We've been talking about Welcoming City for the past few months, and we've heard repeatedly that the council won't pass it unless it was a resolution. Now we're here. Councilwoman Sultana has added to a previous resolution much of the key points of Welcoming City. I don't expect there to be any pushback now on something like this. The time is now to be acting while people are getting kidnapped. This is the least we can be doing, so please don't let me down again. Thank you.
My name is Mark Rosenzweig. I'm 45 North 2nd Street, Governor Wolf Building. And I'm speaking tonight as a member of the Lehigh Valley Democratic Socialists of America. I want to thank Councilwoman Taibat Sultana for standing firm, once again, for the values this city claims to represent: inclusion, fairness, and the right to live without fear. Her 3 new whereas clauses finally give substance to what a welcoming city should mean in practice. They say clearly, no Easton official should be in the business of enforcing federal immigration policy. No one should be collecting or sharing immigration information. No one should be using city time, city resources, or city power to help ICE hunt down our neighbors. That's what it takes to protect a community. Not slogans or empty resolutions, but clear rules that keep local government from becoming an instrument of cruelty. These clauses draw that line. They make Easton's commitment to immigrants more than symbolic. They say this city will not participate in the machinery of deportation. This is not radical. It's humane, it's practical. That's exactly what a local government can and should do when the federal government fails. Step in to defend the people who make our communities live and breathe. I urge the council to adopt these whereases exactly as written. Let Easton take a stand that actually means something, that we will not turn our residents into data points for ICE, that we will not be complicit in family separation, and that we will live up to the best of our own democratic values. Thank you, and thank you especially Councilwoman Sultana for refusing to let this city look away.
Hello, Mayor and Council. My name is Luke. I live downtown. It is Luke. I live downtown and have called Easton home my whole life. I am here today to voice my strong support for welcoming city resolution in our community. Immigration is not a fringe issue in the United States. It is the foundation of nearly every family story here. Every one of us, with few exceptions, are descendants from someone who crossed a border fleeing hardship, seeking opportunity, or simply daring to dream for a better life. Immigration is not the exception in America, it is America, and it is Easton, one of the oldest cities within this lovely union. When we talk about illegal people, we lose sight of our shared humanity. No human being is illegal. Alien is a word for beings from outer space that we not yet have proof for. Our immigrant neighbors are exactly that, our neighbors. Families, workers, students, parents, people who love this city and help it function every single day. The truth is that our local economy runs on immigrant labor. Immigrants clean our offices, they prep our food, and they build our homes. Their contribution is not invisible, it is essential. I have lived alongside, learned from, and worked with immigrants of all backgrounds and documentation statuses, which is the difference at the end of the day, documentation and paperwork. These types of policies originated in partnership with law enforcement because officers and detectives learned a simple truth. When people are terrified of deportation, they will not report crimes, they will not serve as witness, and they will not trust the very systems meant to protect them, meant to protect us all. A community where thousands of residents live in the shadows is not a safer community, it is a vulnerable one. We are better than that in this city. Our city thrives when everyone feels safe enough to participate in civic life, safe enough to send their children to school, and safe enough to call for help when danger arises. To turn our backs on our immigrant neighbors would not only betray our history, it would betray our values that we claim to have. It would betray the image I have held in my mind of my home being a diverse and inclusive community where I, as a gay man, don't have to question my safety. Shame be upon us if we choose fear and cruelty over inclusion and justice. Shame be upon us if we refuse to hold steadfast in the midst of a wannabe despot claiming overreaching federal control of blue cities like ours. And shame be upon us if we choose what is easy over what is right. Let us choose instead to stand with our neighbors. Let us choose to keep families together. Let us choose a future rooted in compassion, cooperation, and courage to remain the best place in the United States to work, live, and visit. Easton, my home. How lucky I am, how lucky we all are. This is a wonderful place to be, and I hope we keep it that way. Thank you.
Luke, excuse me, Luke, may I have your last name, please?
My last name is Gumbrecht. Gumbrecht.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ronald Byron Johnson. I live on Washington Street. My father and I lived for many years in Carrie Blum's historic building at 2nd and Northampton Streets. We were there for many years, long before the hair salons and the cigar shop arrived. Some of my earliest memories are of walking with my dad along the eastern side of the Delaware River. After enjoying breakfast at Mrs. Joe's Quadrant Bookmart and Coffee House on Saturday mornings. I still remember the lively conversations between my father, my dad, and our longtime barber, Leo. Many of you might remember him. And during President George Bush's invasion of Iraq, some of you may recall the large American flag and the yellow and white banner that stretched across my father's business on Northampton between 13th and 14th Streets. It read, "We support our troops." That was in Jim Gargalo's building right across from the funeral home. I share these memories to express my deep roots and sincere gratitude for the childhood and adolescence that the city of Easton gave me. I'm eternally thankful and deeply in love with the industrious, hardworking people who make Easton such a special and desirable home for me and for thousands of other proud Eastonians. But as I've grown, I've come to recognize a struggle that affects many of us, the struggle of hardworking people trying to keep up with the rising cost of living. Groceries, healthcare, rent, utilities, transportation, everything keeps going up. Yet wages generally remain the same. Meanwhile, billionaires legally avoid paying their fair share of taxes by financing the political campaigns of lawmakers who write tax codes that benefit the wealthy. Tax codes that shift the burden of taxation onto working class families. These same billionaires own the majority of our media outlets, shaping the narrative and manipulating the public to blame a convenient scapegoat, the undocumented migrant worker. This is done deliberately to divert attention and accountability away from those truly responsible for inequality, and instead toward the most vulnerable amongst us. These are people who often speak with an accent, who live in fear, and who are escaping the consequences of imperialist sanctions, economic blockades, and regressive regimes. Yet instead of compassion, they face persecution. And now reactionary forces have created what is perhaps the most sophisticated surveillance apparatus in human history, the Department of Homeland Security, giving rise to modern-day Gestapo tactics that threaten our civil liberties and target the most vulnerable and marginalized amongst us. My purpose in speaking today is not only to remember where we came from, but to affirm who we are, a community built by labor, by love, and by resilience. Easton has always stood for hard work, fairness, and solidarity. Let us continue that legacy, standing shoulder to shoulder with all working people, regardless of where they come from or what language they speak. On that note, I would like to thank Dr. Ruggles for writing this welcoming resolution, and Taiba for recognizing the need to further strengthen our welcoming resolution to support and protect our immigrant communities, given increased Department of Homeland Security abductions in Easton. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else like to address City Council?
My name's Mark Morawski, Morawsky. I do not live in Easton. I've had businesses in Easton. I have property in Easton. I live in Palmer, actually. And what's done, whether it's in Palmer, whether it's in Easton or any other townships, will affect everybody. We have a school coming up, $300 million, and we want to invite everybody in if they're here illegally. I have a problem with that. I don't care if you're an immigrant and you're here legally. Everybody, like it's been mentioned, are all descendants of immigrants, except for a few. We have a school which is going to be paid for by local communities, including Easton, including Palmer, Forks, etc. At what point do we reach before we say we cannot afford this? Because I'm sure once the school gets going, I'm saying 300 million. I've been through this before in other communities. It's no longer 300 million. It's 350. It's got to come out of somebody's pocket. And if you're here illegally, whether you're working on the books or off the books, the fact of the matter is most of the people that are going to be here, they're going to have kids. They're going to want them to go to school. That school is going to keep up the entire region's prosperity. And if we're going to go ahead and I read the ordinance a couple times, or the resolution, and it just falls short of using the word sanctuary city. And that's basically what it will become. And to have a sanctuary city here, I know it's been mentioned before regarding federal funding, etc. All right, but we have a lot of local residents that are also struggling. And when they're going to get an increased school tax bill, property tax bill, to do all these different things, whether it's lighting, whether it's streets, whether it's new utilities, there's only so much that can be put on everybody's back. I'm not saying we want to kick people out. I want to say, let's keep the people here that have come here, and they're here legally. And I understand there's people that have, for years, come here illegally. All right? That's always going to happen. But we're not talking about 100 people, or 1,000, or 10,000, or 1 million. We're talking about millions of people. They're not all coming to Easton. But the fact of the matter is, they're here. Something needs to be done. I support something that would be a quicker way to, we'll say, citizenship for somebody that's come here, that's done what everybody else before them has done. Okay? You went ahead, you got your citizenship, you passed your test. It's sounding more and more like this wants to become a blanket approach to having everybody become a citizen. And we're not documenting anybody. I'm not saying we have to document everybody, but there's got to be some limitations here, and it doesn't sound like there's any. And my point is, if I'm going to be expected to pay, and every community around here is going to be expected to pay for this, maybe we put a pause on it and we look at it a little bit better. It seems to be more of a knee-jerk reaction because so many people don't like the current administration. I didn't like the last administration, but I wasn't looking to go ahead and change every rule to put it in the face of the administration. You're pretty much going to decide. That's your job to make this decision. But if you're going to go ahead and do that, there are consequences to those decisions. It's not just welcome everybody and there's not going to be any expenses. Not welcome anybody and we're going to have plenty of places for them to live. I was a landlord here in town, and I know that I still talk to a lot of my old tenants. Okay, their rent has gone up tremendously. So if we welcome all these people, where are they going to find housing? That'll be the next issue. Housing, where are we going to put these people? And then we're going to have other issues, I'm sure, that everybody knows about, whether it's crime, because nobody's vetted. Not that there's no criminals in town, there's criminals everywhere. But every policy that goes into effect here, nobody's going to stop at 15th Street because 15th Street is Wilson Borough. They're going to go into Wilson, and they're going to affect every other community. So that's my input, and take for what it's worth. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Elianis Gautier Peraza,
One moment.
and I live in
One
Forks.
second. Just give me a second to catch up.
Yeah, my name is Elianis Gautier Peraza. I don't live in Easton. I live
Can
in
you
Forks.
spell your name for me?
Elianis, E-L-I-A-N-I-S.
I'm sorry. A little bit slower.
E-L-I-A-N-I-S.
Is that your first name?
Yes,
And your last name?
Gautier. Just put a GP in there.
What is the last name?
Gautier.
How do you spell it?
G-A-U-T-I-E-R.
And you live in Easton?
I live in Forks,
In
but I pay Easton school taxes. And if my money goes to children education, it's money well invested.
Anyone else like to address City Council on agenda items?
Mayor, I just want to add what Mr. Mark said. I do want to mention immigrants living in the state of Pennsylvania contribute $523 million to the tax revenue. That's not, and their children are allowed to get education, the schools that are built for the children. Thank you. Search it up.
No, Mayor.
It's a public record. It's a public record.
I can tell you that I know of an immigrant who was undocumented who worked at Atlantic States, which is now Mollenkoff Baker over in Phillipsburg. He owned a home in Old Orchard, and he paid taxes, but he couldn't get a driver's license. It's the only thing that he couldn't get, but he paid taxes. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I'll just tell you my personal experience. Hold on. We don't have any back and forth in the audience. Just City Council. The only thing I can tell you is that I'm not satisfied with this resolution. And I blame the federal government for a number of things, but the most important thing, if Mr. President Trump wanted to do something good for this country, he'd make the pathway to citizenship easier and more fluid. Because right now, I can tell you that there's Lebanese people still in Lebanon that's been waiting 7 years to come over to America because they can't get their citizenship papers.
Mayor, he has his 5 minutes.
Okay.
Mayor, I think we should move
Thank you,
on
Mark.
agenda.
Anybody else want to address City Council on agenda items only? Then we'll move on to
Consent agenda.
consent agenda, Madam Clerk.
Sure. We have the following addresses that are for a certificate of appropriateness. 158-60 South 3rd Street, 226 Northampton Street, 101 South 3rd Street, 132-142 South 3rd Street, 8 Center Square, North Sickreeves at Northampton.
Move.
Second.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call. I noticed that the HGC has approved the condominium project for next door. And they've also approved the 8 Center Square, the private club.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Sultana?
Aye.
There are no reports received by council, public comment, so we'll go right on to the reports by council. Reports of the committees. Finance Committee, Vice Mayor Brown.
Mayor, I only have one thing on the agenda this evening for the good of the order, and that's Bill 78, which is authorizing the grant for the notes.
Okay. And Planning and Code Committee, Councilmember Rose.
Thank you, Mayor. The Wood Avenue warehouse rebuttal was continued at the recent Planning Commission meeting. The meeting ran very late, and it has been continued to the November 5th meeting. We may have a decision at the December 3rd meeting. The Zoning Hearing Board will also continue its own hearing on their piece of the warehouse proposal project that relocates an unnamed tributary in a designated floodplain. This meeting will take place on October 27th. That would be Monday. I also wanted to mention that the first annual Witches Walk is coming up on Friday from 4 to 9 p.m. and also it will be on Saturday from 2 to 6 p.m. I will be joining Mayor Panto and Todd Numera from Blue Zones to judge this year's Easton Witches Walk costume contest on Friday, so hope to see everybody there. I also joined for a second year in a row the planning meeting for the second annual Westward tree lighting, and we have set a date for Saturday, December 6th from 5 to 8 p.m., so keep an eye out for all the activities. We have a lot of fun things planned for kids, and I know Councilman Pinnabone has also offered to donate a permanent tree to Paxenosis School that we can use for the lighting too, so thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Public Safety Committee, Dr. Ruggles.
Excuse me, Mayor. Mr. Pinnabone.
What?
Didn't have a chance to give his report.
Economic development.
Oh. Economic Development Committee, Mr. Pinnabone, Councilman Pinnabone.
Thank you, Mayor. Just two things. Last week, I had the opportunity to invite Rick Valello of Pennsylvania DCD and Senator Lisa Boscola, along with Bob Freeman, to tour the Nurture Nature Center. As many of us know, they're planning to put a planetarium in and many other things for the community and for educational purposes, and they're looking for funding. So we brought them down, we toured the building, we went to lunch. They really love the building. They love what's happening in the city of Easton, so we're hoping we get their support and approval on the grants. On a not so good note, I hosted a press conference about a month ago to reveal our the transportation plan, intercity transportation plan that I've been working on for about a year. We were supposed to start this week releasing the dates for the public meetings, and we heard from PennDOT yesterday that they were told to stop, for Lanta to stop moving forward on this program. because no budgets have been passed. So no funding is moving, and unfortunately, we have to stop and see what happens when the funding comes, and hopefully, we can resume. But it's all with the state and federal government not passing a budget. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Pettibone. Public Works Committee, Mr. Councilman Endiger.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report tonight. I will, however, be moving 3 resolutions.
Okay, thank you. Administration Committee, Councilmember Sultana.
Dr. Ruggles.
Oh, Dr. Ruggles.
I have no report. Thank you.
Okay, Administration Committee, Councilmember Sultana.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I'm moving a resolution under new business section C, authorizing the execution of a memorandum of agreement with the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection for adoption of quality assurance program plans related to the cleanup of the Easton iron and metal site. And the second thing is regarding Dr. Ruggles' resolution. I do honor your work, Dr. Ruggles, but I'm not asking for anything complicated, just that we keep the 3 clauses that I proposed that actually give this resolution meaning. I would appreciate your support and request that we pass the resolution tonight unanimously without questioning and prove that we are a city that welcomes people of all walks of life. This is merely a resolution, not an ordinance, and this is bare minimum we can do. The third thing is, Mayor, last night we had our first public hearing on the budget. I will leave that to you, Mayor, to report, but I do like to mention that the Human Resources Department reported a big jump in healthcare costs, nearly 20% higher, along with modest wage increases. And then number 4 is, Mayor, I want to bring to everyone's attention an important thing that I have been working on for months. This is part of our city's history. Mayor, this is a copy of the ordinance. About 20 years ago, the city of Easton passed an ordinance, number 4826, known as the Human Relations Ordinance.
Yep.
This law created the Easton Human Relations Commission, a local body empowered to address discrimination in employment, housing, and public accommodation. The purpose of that ordinance was to ensure that no one in our city would be denied opportunity or dignity because of their race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, gender, identity, sexual orientation, age, marital or familial status, or physical or mental disability. It gave Easton the authority to mediate complaints, educate the public, and protect residents' rights here at home without forcing them to rely solely on faraway state or federal agencies. Unfortunately, that commission, which operated for several years after its creation, eventually faded away. The ordinance, however, was never repealed. It's still city law. It's just been sitting dormant for more than a decade. Now, at a time when the Trump-aligned movement nationally is dismantling diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI programs, our small city has an opportunity to stand tall and show that we value fairness, inclusion, and respect for all people. Across the country, programs meant to ensure equal access in education, employment, and public service are being rolled back or defunded. We are seeing entire offices for diversity shut down in state governments and universities. When equity is attacked from the top, cities like Easton must step up for the ground. We cannot control what happened in Washington, but we can control what happened here. Reactivating our Human Relations Commission would send a powerful message that in Easton, we don't eliminate inclusion, we expand it. That we will not wait for Harrisburg or Washington to fix what we can fix ourselves. So the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission is basically overwhelmed now. I have spoken with residents who filed complaints years ago and are still waiting for updates. People are being referred from office to office, and eventually they just give up. I have heard about housing discrimination, language access issues, and employment retaliations. Many of those who experience bias don't have lawyers or resources. They just want someone local who will listen and take their complaints seriously. That's why our ordinance envisioned a local commission, because justice delayed at the state level is justice delayed at the local one. So Mayor, I'm already taking steps to bring this commission back to life. I am planning on working closely with Mr. Campos and other staff to create an application process for appointment to the Eastern Human Relations Commission. I have been in contact with several community organizations and Pennsylvania officials who are committed to helping us establish a fair, transparent, and effective process. I can assure you that, Mayor, with your support, the commission will be up and running at the beginning of the next year. This will not cost the city at all to start. What it needs most is coordination, vision, and a genuine commitment to the value of our ordinance already in reach. Mayor, this ordinance gives us a clear roadmap, but every effort needs leadership to move forward. So with your guidance and the council's collaboration, I would be honored to take the lead in reestablishing the commission, working hand in hand with the administration, Mr. Campos, and our community partners, because together we can ensure Eastern once again has a fully functional Human Relations Commission that reflects our city's diversity and uphold its promise of equal opportunity for all. So thank you, Mayor. Let's not allow this ordinance to sit dormant for another decade. Let's fulfill the promise made and make Easton a model justice in Pennsylvania once again. That's all I have, Mayor.
I'm glad to hear that this thing may come up again. I know my wife served on that many years ago, and the reason why I defunct is that we couldn't get people from the community to sit on that board.
Well, there was only one hearing.
Right.
If I was going to wait for my report,
Go ahead.
but the Human Relations Commission ordinance was repealed on September 23rd, 2020, and I can tell you why. It was formulated in the first place because the state did not protect gender biased issues.
Correct.
And when the state amended their Human Relations Act, this was repealed because the city, frankly, did not have the resources anyway to properly do this. If you want to recommission it, go to the budget. You have to hire an investigator. You'll have to hire, I think you should have separate counsel, and you'll have to get a board. So you know, I guess if you
And
put,
you don't fund any of that.
well, and we don't have, the HRC in Harrisburg, which I've been in front of, has a whole, it's set up, it's structured in a way to properly handle these claims. The city, the reason it was adopted, because I was involved at the time, was because there was a feeling within the community that there was an absolute hole as it pertained to the LGBTQ community. And once that was fulfilled, it was determined that what are we fooling around? We don't have the resources to do it, and we should defer to the state and the process that they have in conjunction with the EEOC. I mean, everything is coordinated. You really would need to just put a whole staff together to do that. So
I have a question.
I think
You
you're
said
gonna
the
state at the
entire
time.
ordinance was repealed,
I'm just
or just a portion?
I just have here that Article 183 of the 1965 by ordinance number 4 was repealed by ordinance number 5715. I guess you got to look at ordinance number 5715.
Yeah, because I could
and
not
see
find
ex-
any
and-
other information.
And see exactly what it provides. I just remember that we said, what are we doing here? We don't have
Why are
any.
we doing
We have no members. We have no members on that board, and we don't have the resources if we got a complaint to investigate it. We have enough trouble doing our own internal.
We got to have the state come down and do the investigation because we didn't have resources.
Well,
And they wanted us to give them an office, and it was all.
but I mean, I'm not saying you can't do it.
No, but that's exactly why I want to bring that to life, because we do have our resources. That I'm actually working with the same organization that actually helped create this ordinance.
Well, if we're gonna, okay, well,
And they are providing, and we've been working on reaching out to the other organizations to bring people on the commission. We do have resources to train them, and that training will be free of cost. It will cost nothing to the city of Easton. All we want to do is just bring back the commission.
Well, that then means that I mean, you'll have to. This is legislative. It means from that comment that it's a third party outside that you're deferring to instead of controlling it yourself. It's a real question. There is that third party, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, that we're paying taxes for to do all this, that have it set up. But it's your decision if you really want to look at this again.
Because we only had one in 10 years, one case, and we did not have the investigator, and that was a transgender person who was working for a company that she felt that it wasn't treating her properly.
Well, I'm sure you could promote and get more cases if you want to, but it just.
Yeah, but if there's no case, then the commission should be there. That's my only problem. Like, if we don't have case, that's fantastic. I mean,
It's not fantastic you get members that don't meet. That's the problem. We can't get members that don't meet on a defunct commission.
And you have to get well-balanced members. I mean, you know what it's like to fill all the boards and commissions we have right now. It should be, I mean, that's why that's why this Commonwealth has more resources that it draws from and has a very large staff. So I just wanted to point out, someone could double check it. It was my recollection that it was repealed, and I could only say when I Googled, was it repealed? That's what came up. So you could research it further.
I will look into it, but because I did not find any information about repealing, but I will look into it again. But thank you for bringing that up. But concerning about members, Mayor, I am planning to work on it, like seriously, to bring members on the commission, and we do have people, working with state who can provide free training, and if it was up there until I think for 8 years, I guess.
May I ask why you're opposed to using the state resources?
I mean, we'd have to approve a new commission.
If
what you're saying.
Yeah, that would be Mayor.
If it was in fact repealed, which I seem to recall that, and that's what Mr. Liznicki is also looking up. It says it on the. If it was repealed, you'd have to adopt a new ordinance. So it'd be all a matter of your discussion, debate, and everything else. And as I say, you should really be doing it with a budget in mind as to who's going to take care of this.
Yeah, but this will not cost anything, so I don't know.
It has to, unless you're saying, well, it's not going to cost the city anything because we're hiring a third party.
No, we're not hiring. We're not hiring.
Somebody
working with different organizations. We are not hiring anything. And yes, as you mentioned, like mayor has to, recommend people according to the ordinance. If you read section 18305, Establishment of Human Relation Commission, it does say, the Pennsylvania Human Relation Act, there is hereby established a Human Relation Commission in and for the city of Easton. And then the number B is, the Easton Human Relation Commission shall consist of 9 members who shall serve overlapping terms of 3 years each. So, and it also mentioned 5 members of the commission shall be appointed by the mayor.
Everything that's done in the city requires personnel. It requires work for the mayor to appoint the people. There's not. You have hearings. Everything costs some money. There's nothing free.
Everybody that I appointed resigned because they didn't meet.
Well, whatever it is, I'll leave it to you. The first step is to find out whether it has been repealed. If it has been repealed, then someone has to introduce an ordinance, discuss why you're doing it, balance all the things, and also give great details as to how all the functions will be properly conducted. What is the relief for someone who has a complaint? How do you enforce it? I mean, there's a lot of steps involved, specifically enforcement. I mean, too, it's just not taken lightly. There's appeals. It's a big deal to have it and to do it correctly. It's a big deal.
Yeah. And I can invite the organizations who are willing to provide free services and who are willing to help me get commission together and willing to bring people for your recommendations and for interviews. I can bring all those people here at next meeting.
But I'm always skeptical of a special interest group that's pursuing one specific matter, because you have to maintain a certain degree of objectivity and neutrality without presumptions. It's the only comment I wanted to make is that I was under the impression it was repealed, and explain the reason it was repealed. The reason why it was, first of all, adopted, because there was no need for it except for that one issue. And I know, everything you were reading, I'm pretty sure I worked on that initial draft. The repeal draft was so easy that I don't know if I worked on it or Bill worked on it.
Yeah, no, definitely. But just to clarify,
I actually probably, when I'm looking at it, I probably did that too, but I don't remember.
But just to clarify, there is no interest group or lobby involved. They are
Which organizations are you looking to
I will
partner
bring them in at the next council meeting so they can come and introduce themselves, and then
Can we do it in committee?
we can do it in committee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
just out of curiosity, who are you talking to? Which organizations?
I will bring them in so they can come introduce themselves, because
Well, I mean, if you know who they are, it would be nice
I-
to start looking into them prior to, so that we would have questions prepared.
no,
So
you
are you
will
going to
have question
identify
first.
that prior to?
I didn't know, I didn't know any
you will have
organization
enough time
exists
to
without
answer your
having a mission statement to begin with. And I can't imagine that you have someone who exists to be a bipartisan, neutral body. But again, we could just see what it is. It just runs against my common sense.
And this is available through it for anybody through the state.
Yeah,
Yes, that's why we said,
Repealed it.
why do we have it here? They have the resources to do
Right.
this.
I mean, they have,
And they have mediation people involved. That's just it, and it's done by public servants who are paid and therefore should have the credibility of being neutral.
But if it's not repealed, then it's a law. It's a city's law. That's the thing.
But why?
If it's not repealed,
If
I am
it's
not
not,
sure.
if
I
it's
have
not
to look
repeal,
into
if
it
it's
now.
not repealed, then it's
Then
still on
it's
the.
a city's law, and
that-
according to city's law, we have to have a commission.
I would just like to ask you again for the second time, why would we be opposed to using the state's resources that we pay our taxes for already versus, like, why would we double our efforts? I'm not always, if there's a reason for it, I'm open to the discussion, but like, what's not working now?
The point is we have a law in place, and if it's not repealed, we have a law in place, and according to this law, that law should be implemented. And according to this law, we do have to have a commission.
You'd have to form a.
repeal the law.
You'd have to have to form a commission, and I would recommend, as I'm sure I did back a long time ago, that you should repeal this act because it's not going to be as good a resource and a benefit to those people who have complaints than the state funded HRC, unless we actually funded it and created something better than the state.
I doubt that. All right, Mr. Solicitor, here's your report.
Oh, okay. I was going to explain about this. No, I do want to report that I've been told that last night there was an executive session on a personnel matter, and I know that tonight there was a continuation of that discussion as well as an extensive discussion concerning property rights. And I have no other report.
Thank you, Mr. Shear. And I have no report.
Except that my opinion is there are no kings.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your opinion.
Or should not be.
Under my report, the only thing I had was we already talked about the LED streetlights, which are way too bright. So we are addressing that. We'll go into, there's no correspondence. We'll go right into unfinished business, Madam Clerk.
Well, excuse me, Mr. Campos, his
Oh.
report.
Yeah. Let me get Mr. Rabbits first.
In the 60s and
144.
70s, I personally filed over 15 reports to the Pennsylvania
Can't hear you, Artie.
License
Yeah,
Commission.
can you speak into the microphone?
In the 60s and 70s, I personally was part of a group of 5 people that voluntarily had a fair housing committee, and we filed over 15 reports to the Pennsylvania Fair Housing Commission. And the very next day, after we filed a report, they had a representative or two in Easton going to that house because we would put $100 down on the house that was the person with the black or brown person was discriminated against, and they would follow up the very next day and say, we understand you took a check from a white person and turned down a black person. It was tremendously effective. They got almost 100% response, except one person took the house off the market, and otherwise they were terrific.
Good.
When was that? When was that, Mr. Artie?
What?
Late 60s,
Oh,
early
late
70s.
60s.
Thanks,
Okay.
thanks for your work
Thank
on
you.
that.
Thank you, Art. Mr. Campos.
Mayor, only one update. This weekend we have our first round of testing for the fire exam. We have, I didn't get the final total, but it's between 66 and 70 applicants, which is not bad. However, it usually dwindles down if we look at history. down to just the amount of qualified individuals for the positions that we have. So, but anyway, it's a better sign than what we had from last year.
Good.
Thank you.
Hire more firefighters. Madam Clerk, there's no correspondence, we'll go into unfinished business now. Bill number 78.
Bill number 78, an ordinance authorizing a grant anticipation note.
Move.
Second.
Moved in second, any discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger?
We'll move right into new business, Madam Clerk.
Okay, the first item on the new business agenda is a resolution supporting and protecting immigrant communities.
So move.
Second.
Mayor,
Moved in
I'd
second,
like to-
discussion, go ahead, Mr.
I'd like to
Brown.
talk about that. I had an opportunity over the last 4 days to read both resolutions. The one that it was implemented back in 2017 by Dr. Ruggles, which I am strongly recommending that the council take a look at. I think this speaks to the purpose of what we're trying to say in the city. It worked back then, and I believe that the way it's written, it will work today. And looking at Councilwoman Sultana's, she really pretty much kept what Dr. Ruggles had, added a 3-part. I think without the 3-part, it still said the same thing, and the resolution that Dr. Ruggles had put together back then in 2017. So my recommendation would be to bring Dr. Ruggles' resolution back in full board.
Any other discussion?
But that resolution is already passed. I don't understand. That was passed in.
It was
2017.
different. It was different council members. I'm giving the opportunity for the council members that are seating today to vote on this resolution again.
The resolution that was passed already in 2017. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Correct. It just
So
bring
what?
If this, in my mind, and I'm not speaking for any other council member, in my mind, it speaks the same truth to what we're trying to say, without implementing the 2 other things that you wrote down here.
But that's a resolution. That's not an ordinance. You know that, right?
I'm
Yeah,
saying a
and
resolution.
council did say like it's doesn't hold the same weight that ordinance. It's a resolution.
And I believe in our conversations before, council did speak, and correct me if I'm wrong, council members, that we said that we could get behind a resolution.
So it is
and
a
not
resolution.
and not an ordinance.
No, it's not an ordinance. It's a resolution. It's a resolution.
I think Mr. Brown knows that.
I've been saying that all along. So that is my recommendation. My opinion, what I thought in reading both of them, I think Dr. Ruggles' resolution back then still speaks to what the community is saying today.
Just to clarify, I added those 3 clauses, but the rest is prepared by Dr. Ruggles.
Correct. I think.
So So it's still prepared by Dr. Ruggles, and I truly honor his work, honestly. It's just there was an issue, there was a concern if the language, like suggested, can be used in resolution or not. And that was clarified. I did my own research and then also reached out to Mr. Shi, and that was like, we can't use the word suggested in the resolution. That was the only concern. But
Am I, this is what's on the agenda, because it says it's co-sponsored by everybody on
I wasn't asked.
on the
I
council.
also was not asked.
Oh, okay, because I'm just saying what we're looking at here. When I read this, I was reading that Mr. Brown co-sponsored this, so I was a little confused right now, so.
So there's the same addition that Dr. Ruggles, excuse me, I'm sorry, I just want to clarify a few things. Proposed name, the name of the proposed person, and the co-sponsor, that's all mentioned by Dr. Ruggles, not me.
Yeah, but that you wouldn't.
All mentioned, because this is the same resolution that was passed in 2017. besides the three clauses, and I think Mr. Pintabon also added something to be resolved. So this is
You can't carry, you can carry all that language, but you can't say it's co-sponsored. This is a new resolution. So you can't say, so even if you're using old language, readopting it with some additional language, each of the council people, the co-sponsored line should be stricken, except for anybody here who wants to say, I am a co-sponsor. That, so if,
okay. Yeah, that's fine. We can
No,
remove
that- I
that.
mean, that-
Because
that's
that was
what I'm
not my
saying.
suggestion.
Yeah,
That
okay.
came from Dr. Ruggles. That's not me.
well, that was, I'm just,
Yeah.
it just should be corrected into, and I only raised it because Mr. Brown was raising a question, saying, why are you questioning this? You co-sponsored it. Well,
My reason for it, and I hope you understand now, my reasoning for I co-sponsored this back in 2007.
in 2000, no, I understand that this
And
was
henceforth-
copy and pasted.
Exactly.
Except I don't know how Crystal Rose did it in 2017 and Frank Pintabone in 2017.
Henceforth,
I was not asked
my
to
questioning
co-sponsor.
and my for saying that with the 2017, if we bring it back as it was written with Dr. Ruggles, it gives this council an opportunity to say yes or no or confirm.
But
So
so
are we
you can
tabling this?
we can remove because again, it didn't come from me. In the name of the co-sponsored. So, but I would like to co-sponsor Dr. Ruggles' new resolution because I'm part of the
Is this
amendment.
your resolution, Dr. Ruggles?
Um,
The whole resolution. That's the question. I mean,
Well, I brought a resolution back, and it was intended to go to a committee, and I included those names in there because I was at that committee meeting, just going to make sure that everybody was on board and that everybody would co-sponsor. This is language that we had used many times several years ago, and it just shows a unanimous, kind of a unanimous front.
right.
The whole purpose of this resolution was to present that front to our legislators at the federal level. And the reason that I was not in favor of the suggestion, because I did not include that in the resolution that I brought forward. I did include two of Mr. Pettibone's suggestions that he gave me because I did agree with his stance that things are different today than they were back in 2017. So those two things I put into that particular resolution.
Okay, so
They're missing from.
They're missing from this.
Sultana's, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
But the whole point here, was to get our legislators to start doing something about immigration, okay? And the original resolution was passed in 2017. It is now 2025. We're ready. I mean, I think many people are ready to repass that resolution again, and just basically saying nothing's been done. Hey, what are you doing?
well,
But if you add the word suggestion in here, this is my opinion. If you add the word suggestion in here, what happens is in my opinion, it waters it down. It makes it not as firm a resolution that we're presenting to these to the legislators at the federal level. When you put the word suggestion in, you're like, oh well, maybe or maybe not.
It throws the wall up too.
It doesn't go well. Okay, and that's why I was not in favor of having that particular component in this resolution.
So okay, so Dr. Ruggles, your concern was suggestion, right? And those suggested whereases were under to be resolved, okay? And now they are not under to be resolved. Now they are under the statement. So to be resolved, it is still, we are asking federal to do the right things. It's not under to be resolved. and I understand you're concerned about. No, I understand. I just want to clarify. I'm sorry. I just clarify because the concern last time was the wording, language suggested, and according to Mr. Shear and according to my own research, suggested can be used, and we have used those words like before with many other ordinances, and I copied that ordinance, when I sent out final email to Madam Speaker with CC'd with all the other council members. So this is not to be resolved. And I think I believe it still keeps the same thing that we are asking federal to do the things, because suggested whereas is or under statement. It's part of the statement, but not part of the action.
That's correct. The word suggested, and I do believe it's totally appropriate if you wish to use that language, is all in the recitals. The recitals all lead up to the resolution. The resolution is the specific 3 items, as well as a distribution, as well as suggestions on how to distribute this, and that's what the resolution ultimately comes down to, based on the recitals that work up to the resolution.
But it's not under action, right? To be resolved is still asking the federal government to do their job, and to be further resolved is. Excuse me. The further result is to send this resolution to other municipalities.
That's correct, and that's generally what any government body would do, where they just want the opinion to be disseminated,
right,
as the viewpoint of this body.
Mayor, if I may, Councilwoman, I think with what you added to the ordinance, I think you diluted it, right? And I don't think it serves a purpose going to anywhere past here. So I was one that recommended opening Councilman Ruggles' resolution. If council agreed, we did. I made 2 suggestions. Very clear that we didn't agree with residents in the city of Easton, undocumented or not, being taken without warrants and just taken and whatever else. The second part was we don't approve of anybody not having their due process, right? Councilman Ruggles, and I think everybody agreed with that. That's something you send to the state or the federal government and say, we don't like what's happening, right? You're not following the rules. You're not following the law. We don't like what's happening. Those 2 recommendations by yourself, I'm assuming, have been taken out.
It's not.
And you copied your ordinance. You copied your ordinance and put it here. You fought the resolution for many. No, you put it in your own words.
No, it's not.
Okay, let me finish, please.
It's an accurate statement.
So what you did was you took your ordinance, which you didn't want a resolution, you fought against the resolution. Even when I mentioned the resolution, you were telling everybody it does nothing. You took your ordinance, copy and pasted it to the resolution, and again, a resolution is symbolic, right? So you saying that the city of Easton won't do this, the employees won't do this. It holds
suggested.
Suggesting they
it's
don't.
Mentioned suggested.
Suggest, correct. It holds no weight at all for nothing.
But
it, again, doesn't help anyone, and you've diluted it so much that it makes no sense sending it to anyone.
Didn't that
by saying that those 2 points, we don't agree with residents being taken without warrants. We don't agree with people's due process being violated. That's a clear message to you send to the legislation's federal, state government. I believe what you did was dilute the whole thing, and unfortunately, from what I'm hearing from the council, they don't support the ordinance in its current form. They support Councilman Ruggles' original ordinance.
So I wanna clarify 2, 3 things. First, your suggestions are still part of the resolution. Okay. They are part of the resolution. I did not delete anything. I did not remove anything. It's part of the resolution. And talking about diluted, this is exactly what Mr. Pintabonio said when the ordinance was here. You said it will send a wrong sense of security. Right. And now you are saying the same thing. And even though the council did say, bring a resolution, there will be more chances to pass the resolution. So the clear thing is you do not want to support immigrant community at all.
That's a good talking point for your next campaign, but let's talk about the truth.
No,
here's
you
the truth.
are campaigning
Here's the
because because
truth.
you know
Here's
that
the truth.
immigrants don't vote.
Whoa.
Here's the truth,
No.
Councilwoman. Here's the truth. You're grandstanding what you've done for 4 years. We know it. I understand it. I appreciate it to a certain extent. You're telling people that the city officials shouldn't do this or suggested they don't do this. And it means nothing. They can go out with your resolution, with your ordinance, and do the same thing you're telling them or suggesting they don't do. And there's no protection.
It's a suggestion.
Okay, but who's it protecting? Who's your suggestion protecting?
Okay, should we pass the ordinance then?
Dude, it doesn't protect anybody. Your ordinance says you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that.
What?
City-
Can
hold
you,
on.
can you say?
You can't cooperate with ICE, right?
Until
That's what
there
it says.
is a law order. Yes.
Okay, you can't
And
cooperate.
until
that's your
until there's a law in place.
And if I remember correctly, what was in place in your ordinance to reprimand the ones that do it? Nothing. Nothing. So there was nothing stopping anyone from doing what you were asking them not to do. It was a feel-good resolution for you. I get it. I understand what you were trying to do, but it did not protect anyone. Not one.
Okay,
And here's an
what will
example.
protect? What will protect? Let's do that. What will protect immigrants?
A different president. I'm being honest.
Okay, then why we are sitting here as a council members? Why people elected us if everything is going to be president?
To address what we can do regarding the city of Easton.
It's
I
not
don't
regarding
control
the city of Easton?
The city of Easton is not going after any immigrant.
Is it? Ooh.
They are. Well, please tell me when. Please just to document it. I'll write it down. When did the city of Easton go after any undocumented
Oh,
residents?
you mean police? Our police department? Are you talking?
Police, fire, city hall. Tell me somebody that works for the city of Easton that has gone after any
And if
immigrant
they are
documented
not,
undergraduate.
and if they are not, why do you don't want to suggest them not to do it? If
It's
they
not
are
about.
not,
It's not about suggesting them not to do it. It's about it holds no weight. I don't want to pass anything that doesn't mean anything.
Mr. Pintavone, this doesn't mean anything. The resolution,
No.
that statement doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't.
Your statement doesn't mean anything.
My statement was going to show the federal government and the state.
And I
that we passed-
understand-
Hold on. To say we don't like what is going on. We don't agree with it. We're not telling other people what to do or what they can't do because we legally can't.
And I understand why you are making this point because immigrants or undocumented immigrants cannot vote for you, and you want to save your vote.
Man.
You mentioned campaign, Mr. Pintavone.
Because that's what you do.
You mentioned
you
campaign.
campaign, and the people spoke. So let us get through these next 4 meetings.
You
so we can
mentioned
handle city
campaign.
business.
You mentioned
I
campaign.
did, 'cause that's what you're
and
doing.
this is exactly why you are not passing because immigrants can't vote for you, and you wanna make sure you have vote of all the racists, all the white people.
Immigrants
Whoa,
can
whoa,
vote
whoa.
for
all
him.
nice. Yes.
Document it.
Immigrants
Document
can
it,
vote for
please.
him
All
if
the
they
racist
become
white
U.S.
people, document it.
citizens.
Yes, only people who does not
Document,
want, and
right.
we have a one statement over here.
Right.
Only people,
Right.
who's been calling all the immigrants criminals are.
But you're talking
know
to me.
that.
I
know
never
that.
called anybody. You're talking to me. I don't know who you're talking about.
And
I
we're
can't
standing
even-
with them.
I'm standing
And-
with them.
Yeah,
Tyler,
by not
Councilwoman,
making a
Councilwoman.
simple statement. It's
I made a
this
statement.
resolution-
You diluted it.
Guys,
This
I think
resolution
yelling,
But here's the thing, Councilwoman.
yelling at each other does not. No,
No,
like, you
nobody's
can't-
yelling.
You
Nobody's
are yelling.
Here's my last
Bring
point.
it down.
The ordinance
The code
and
of conduct.
resolution that you have, you piggybacked from Allentown. Their ordinance, which is stronger than a resolution, right or wrong?
What is that? Say
Their
that.
ordinance is stronger than a resolution?
Yes, absolutely.
Correct.
But you
Well,
said,
hold on,
but
hold on.
you
Let me
said you
finish.
will.
They passed it. Hold on.
You will
They-
support a resolution.
They passed the ordinance, right?
Hmm.
And it hasn't protected any immigrant from being taken. It hasn't protected one. None. It
Okay.
hasn't protected them.
Hold on.
So it's still
What-
happening. So what are
Okay,
you
what's
doing?
in the ordinance? I'm sorry, I don't mean to raise my voice, but tell me what's in the ordinance that is not is not protecting. Have you read the ordinance? What
I
the
have.
ordinance? Okay, what's in the ordinance? What we are telling ICE or federal not to
It
do?
says, for one example, the police cannot identify someone as being undocumented and then report that to ICE. Right or wrong?
But you said that's not what police officers are doing anyway.
Because there's no repercussions in Allentown or this one. So what happens if a police officer does that? What happens?
The point.
But wait,
is-
no, what
hold on.
happens?
Well, this is what I'm.
Don't
telling
tell me
you.
a point, just
This
tell me what
is-
happens.
No, this is exactly what I'm saying. The point of the resolution or the ordinance, okay? Well, the resolution is not as strong as ordinance, okay? In ordinance, the point of the ordinance is to to ask to actually encourage people the
That's not an
documents
ordinance.
or
It doesn't encourage. It's a law.
No, hold on.
It's a law, though. It doesn't encourage.
It's
So what are the
encourage.
repercussions?
Excuse me. Encourage the residents who wants to complain or report a crime, so they can complain or report a crime without even being afraid of being reported to the ICE.
No,
That's for the people,
I understand
not
what you're saying. I understand.
you don't.
But I do, because it'll make them feel safer to report crimes and what have you. Now, let me ask you the same question again, but I'm going to reword it for understandability. Somebody calls, police come, take their report, find out they're undocumented, right? With their ordinance passed. Now, they get in their police car and call the ICE agents and say, hey, they're undocumented. There's no repercussions for that.
Oh, so you're saying police officers
No, what
are
I'm saying
doing
is-
that, or they can do that?
What I'm saying is you're passing something that has absolutely no teeth at all.
It has
doesn't help
it has all the 32 teeth.
It doesn't.
If you pass,
doesn't.
if we pass the ordinance, it has all the teeth. But we are not passing the ordinance because many of you suggested a resolution, and now we have a resolution, which is merely a statement, and that's
we
the bare
asked a
minimum.
resolution not for you to take your ordinance, copy and paste it to the resolution.
It doesn't
That's
matter.
the difference.
It doesn't matter.
It
It's
does
not
matter.
No, it still does not.
Okay,
It's
all
not
right,
a law.
Hold on.
If
It's not a law.
Mr. Scheer,
If I may, to the credit of this resolution, when the discussion was happened earlier, one of the frustrating and difficult things, particularly with an ordinance, it required, it opened up a door that was dangerous that the chief had commented on. But the fact is, what everyone recognized, that there's a limitation of what a city can do in the first place. The federal government is the one that's running this program and controlling it. And what this resolution does is specifically makes a statement that our representatives should understand that the city believes that federal government should recognize contributions to society of a vast majority of undocumented immigrants, that the federal government should develop a clear and easily managed pathway, et cetera, for citizenship, and that the federal government should address immigrants arriving at the border, et cetera, and humane conditions, exactly what it says. I don't want
Exactly, Mr. Chair.
and so it is totally appropriate for us to say to the federal government through our representatives that we would like to see you behave like that. It's a plea. It's a plea for a certain degree of behavior that is not being displayed right now in Washington by the body that has the control over it, as opposed to what the city
Exactly.
has.
And the reason that I was against the word suggestion in there is if you throw the word suggestion in,
telling somebody,
it becomes just diluted. It is totally diluted. It's not giving a statement of this is what we believe.
Well, the problem is the suggestion part is in the recital.
I understand that.
Because otherwise,
it really don't mean anything.
No. But otherwise, it would read, whereas officials or employees of the city shall not utilize city resources. Well, if you're going to do that, then you got to go back to the ordinance planning and think about all the ramifications.
Right.
So it's better, I think, the format is better the way it is building up to the ultimate resolution that you, City Council, would like to see our employees behave like this, but ultimately, you, the federal government, this is how we feel. Please address these issues, and you've made a statement that will. It's another statement. Hopefully it adds to the tide, or hopefully it's a ripple that adds to a tide and makes
Give me
a
an
change.
opportunity.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I called you Dr. Scheer.
Oh, I am. I happen to have a Juris Doctorate degree from 1975. So
Thank you so much, Mr. Sheriff, for bringing that forth. That was my suggestion in the beginning when I thought this process through, and I looked at both of them, the ordinance, and I looked at the resolution. I thought the resolution spoke volumes to what we're trying to say without penning things against the city that we really couldn't do. I think that, again, I won't speak for the whole council, but I think we got a better opportunity as a body here to pass this resolution than to look at that ordinance. That's just my opinion.
I think I understand how frustrating it is to see issues in society that need fixing, but I think in some cases, one thing I've learned over the last 2 years is we have limited jurisdiction and have to understand where those boundaries lie. I mean, I'm not a state representative or a senator.
And that's why we're not passing the ordinance. That's why this is merely a statement.
As local council members, like our authority is not as broad as other higher levels of elected
Do you have
office.
authority to make a statement to tell we stand with our immigrants and that this is we expect our city
excuse
officials
me.
to do?
Like, you're interrupting me right now.
No, I
think
just want
that
to question because
I'm not done speaking.
All right, go ahead.
I think that we have to understand where our power and authority lies, and I do support Councilman Ruggles' resolution because I think there are things that we need to fix within that are addressed in the resolution. So we can sit here and argue, but I don't know, like, are we ready to move forward with the vote?
I have a question, Dr. Shi. Okay.
That's
Mr.
fine.
Shi.
I legitimately do have a doctorate.
Okay. I said Dr. Ruggles so many times that doctor's in my mind now. But anyway, this resolution,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It's not a law.
That's
right.
It's an action. It's an action by city council to express a sentiment and to pass and communicate it to representatives of the federal government.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
This is and the whereas suggested whereas is are under the statement, not to be resolved, right? It's not an action.
Absolutely correct. The recital, they're called recitals, and they're basically the building blocks to why you're getting to the resolution itself.
Right. So do we have a jurisdiction, as Councilwoman Rose said? Do City Council have a jurisdiction to pass this resolution?
Yes, I think you
Thank
do.
you. Thank you.
Why are we sending it to all these cities?
Dr. Ruggles suggested that, so
Okay.
I accepted.
Those were
I think that's a
We
good.
did that in 2017.
No, I think this is a great idea.
But I did that to start a chain that would then hopefully be propagated, asking each of the cities to then adopt this resolution and then pass it on to 12 more cities. And those cities then pass it on. So the intent was to try to get other municipalities to adopt this and to continue to pass it on. So
Yeah.
that was a whole
And
thing.
thank you so much
if you
for
look at
doing
the
that, yeah.
locations of those cities, they're somewhat geographically distributed.
Yeah.
And I truly appreciate that, Dr. Ruggles. This is a good move. So we have a first motion and we have a second.
Any other discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
To be clear, we're voting on Dr.
This
Ruggles.
as is.
As is.
As is.
As is resolution.
Nobody made it.
No, that's it. Dr. Ruggles' original 2017.
No.
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 No, that's how it's on the agenda.
Okay.
That's not on
With
the agenda.
whereases in there?
The three whereases
Nobody voted.
are in there.
Okay.
So we are voting on Dr. Ruggles' updated resolution, correct?
Yes.
Correct. Okay.
Ms. Sultana.
Yes.
No, Dr. Ruggles' resolution. It's still the Dr. Ruggles
But
resolution.
you're the one that.
You introduced
No,
it.
amended. Yeah.
We're talking. I
No,
just
no,
want to
we,
clarify. We've been talking about two different resolutions.
No,
The one that's on the
No, what
agenda
are we
has the
voting?
whereas that
Yes.
Ms. Sultana included.
Right.
So this is the same one that
So that's what you're
that is
voting on.
introduced. Yes.
Yes.
Move and second.
So this includes Councilwoman Sultana's
Whereas
edit.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas no official of the city
But
or
it does
employee of the
not-
city shall request, record, or access government records of an individual's citizenship or
Does
immigration
Mayor Shi-
status. And whereas the council of the city of Easton opposes.
Because that Dr.
And Mr. Pinnabone, it does not include the two suggestions that you had.
It's included. It's included in the resolution.
It's exactly what's in our what was
exactly
distributed.
Well, then, if we're
It's on the
interested in
agenda.
going back to Dr. Ruggles' draft, shouldn't we table this
I
to
don't see
committee?
the line.
The one that is on the agenda is this is what we are voting
You could
on.
do that.
Yeah.
I would move to table to the next committee meeting to discuss.
I don't.
It sounds like there are
I would-
disagreements
I
on
would
the
suggest this-
edits that were submitted.
I would suggest Mayor just vote
I
on
agree
it.
with
And
Councilperson Rose.
Dr. Ruggles,
I'm
can we
sorry.
just vote
Hold
on
on,
it?
I'm
Get
sorry.
over with.
Councilwoman Rose, I'm sorry.
She wants to table it.
I would like to table it to the next committee meeting because it looks like that we have disagreements based on the submitted edits.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
I would like to suggest that we table this resolution discussion to the next committee meeting because it sounds like from our conversation tonight that there are some disagreements with some of the edits that were added to your new draft.
That would be a motion.
Mr. Campos.
Yes, well, I'm just,
Joel's looking up the
I would make a motion.
the Roberts rules
table it.
on tabling. So just because I
Doesn't require a second.
it does, and I don't think it requires a vote either. But
No,
we're
it
just right. We're just double confirming
She's tabling it to a date certain, which is the next meeting.
that. Okay.
But Mayor, we already discussed this a lot, and we discussed the suggested language.
We can ask AI. Actually. I know. Did you look it up?
If you're looking for me, I think you need a majority vote to table.
Majority vote?
That's my, that,
Motion
I
and
would-
second
that's,
with a vote.
that's what the, simplified rules of,
We have a motion and second
are
to vote.
Motion to table.
I'm sorry.
Moved and seconded.
What's moved and
To
seconded?
table it.
The table.
But why we are tabling it? The question is, we discussed the suggested language at the last meeting, where we included Mr. Sheed to confirm that if suggested language can be used or not, and he confirmed that it can be used.
I moved to table because there are disagreements as to what language should and shouldn't be included in the resolution. So I think that we should table it until the next committee meeting.
That was done. The language issue was done, and that's what.
Well, we
have
can
an
continue
email
to discuss.
We can table it. Councilmember Rose tabled it and moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk,
Okay,
on the tabling.
tabling. Thank you. Mr.
You're right.
Till next
Next,
week.
to table it
Till
to
next
Weeks, the next
next
committee.
committee meeting.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger,
Aye.
Mayor Panto,
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone,
Aye.
Mrs. Rose,
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles,
Aye.
Ms. Sultana.
No.
Thank you. Tabled.
Oh, there's no discussion.
Okay,
Okay, Madam.
Okay.
Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
sure.
Sorry.
We have a resolution approving an agreement between the City of Easton and Kelly Houghton for apprenticeship conservation management, introduced by Mr. Eddinger.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Dr. Ruggles,
Aye.
Ms. Sultana,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger,
Aye.
Mayor Panto,
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone,
Aye.
Mrs. Rose.
Aye.
A resolution authorizing the execution of a memorandum of agreement with the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection for adoption of quality assurance program plans related to the cleanup of the Easton Iron and Metal site, introduced by Mayor Panto.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
A resolution approving.
Aye.
I'm so sorry. Dr. Ruggles. Resolution approving an agreement between New Pipe LLC and the City of Easton to reline several large storm sewer conveyance pipes,
So moved.
introduced by Mr. Eddinger.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
The next resolution was introduced by Mr. Eddinger. Resolution approving consulting agreement with Simone Collins for the Abbott Street lock.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second, I'm sorry.
Second. Roll call.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger?
Aye.
And lastly, we have for introduction, Bill number 79, an ordinance electing to amend non-uniform pension plan administered by PMRS. Was
I'll move that.
introduced by Mayor Panto and ordered
Introduce.
for adoption.
Introduced. Is there any other comment from the public on any item? David? I gotta get it in me soon. The stuff I took at 4 o'clock is worn off.
David Brotzman, Brotzman.
And
Philadelphia
you're,
Road.
I'm sorry, where do you live?
Philadelphia Road.
Okay.
Since we're talking about street lights tonight, is there any chance that we can get Lehigh Drive relit? There's 17 street lights on there. 12 of them don't work. And I was downtown.
Hold on, Dave. Mayor.
Yeah.
To his question. What? I know it's a state road. Do we have a say, or is that the state?
That's a state.
Aren't they?
Same as Cemetery Curve.
Yeah,
PennDOT.
Cemetery Curve has more
Bob
than
Freeman.
that, way more than that.
Lehigh Drive is the state. That's why I didn't know if we can call them in or the state has to do it.
State has to do
We
it.
can tell the state that
So
they're out.
Philadelphia Road, if this is
Yeah,
lights
Bob
out, you
Freeman.
have to call PennDOT because Philadelphia Road's a state
Yeah,
road.
yeah.
So you don't pay for those lights?
No.
No.
State pays for them.
Okay.
But we can tell. We'll tell
We
PennDOT.
can tell them. We can tell them.
Okay. Wish you would,
Because
it's
they
awful-
probably
it's
don't
awful
know
dark
it.
down there.
They probably don't know it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what lights are out in Harrisburg, so they shouldn't know what the lights are out here, right?
Hopefully they put the right bulbs in.
I hope they put the bright ones in because it's awful dark down there.
Well, bright is one thing. What they did downtown was just
That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I haven't. The walk button down here at 3rd Street. Can we get it fixed?
It's fixed.
No, it's not. Sunday it didn't work.
It works, but it takes a long time.
I stood there purposely because I rode my bike through town the other day, and I went to cross back over to go down to get on the D&L trail. Stood there for 2 cycles, and it never came on.
Oh, we'll check it out.
And my last thing is, can somebody look at getting the Hope Road section of the D&L trail that is the city's responsibility fixed? I've asked several times. Somebody would like to meet me out there to see what the condition of it is. I'm a fairly good bike rider, and there's parts of it that scare me. So
Okay.
I'd be
Bellevue
happy
Township,
to
but it is
stop
in the
out.
city of Easton.
it's in
The city of Easton.
I used to work for the park, and I know what is park and what's not.
Yep.
That's all I have.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Any other business? Any other member of the public? Anybody else on city council like to say anything? We'll move to adjourn. Moved by Dr. Ruggles, second. All in favor, roll call.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana? And Mayor Panto?
Aye.